Solve equations with times or divide. Now to help solve these equations, we're going to use some rules. So let's look at these rules with an example. Let's say we have an equation 4t equals 12. And to help understand this, we need to understand what is meant by 4t. Now 4t is the same as 4 times. Mathematically, we just don't write the time symbol in the middle. The rest of the equation remains the same. So now we look at rule number 1, and it says find the side of the unknown. The unknown here is t, and this is on the left hand side. Point 2, what is the furthest away from the unknown on the same side? So on the same side, we have 4. What is the opposite sign? Well, here it's a times. So looking at our rules, the opposite to times is divide, and we need to apply that on both sides. So we need to do a divide 4 and a divide 4 on both sides. Now the reason we're looking at the opposite is essentially because we're trying to cancel the 4 that we've circled in orange. Now we simplify. So 4 divided by 4 is 1 times t, which is equal to 12 divided by 4, which is 3. Now 1 times t is the same as t equals 3. So here the answer is t equals 3. Let's look at another example. 3t equals 21. Again here, 3t is the same as 3 times t equals underneath the equal sign and 21. Then we find the side of the unknown. So here the unknown is t, and that's on the left hand side. What is furthest away from the unknown? And it's on the same side, so that has to be the 3. And we're asking ourselves, what is the opposite sign? So here the sign next to the 3 is the times. So the opposite sign is going to be divide. And then we apply that on both sides. Divide 3 and divide 3. We then simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1 times t equal underneath the equal sign. 21 divided by 3, which is 7. 1 times t is t, which equals 7. Let's look at another example. Minus 8 equals to 4x. The first thing is to find the side of the unknown. So that's on the right hand side, it's x. And then as before, we can write the 4x as 4 times x. And place the minus 8 as it is. And then we ask what's on the same side as x but furthest away. So that's the 4. What sign is it? So here it's a times and we want the opposite sign. So that's going to be a divide. And we apply that on both sides. So divide 4 and divide 4. So the equal sign stays underneath the equal from before. Minus 8 divided by 4 is minus 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And minus and the plus make a minus. And then we say 4 divided by 4, which is 1 times x. 1 times x is x. So the answer here is x equals minus 2. Let's look at another example. 10 equals 2y. Now 2y we can write as 2 times y. The rest remains the same. The unknown y is on the right hand side. We look for what's furthest away from this unknown and on the same side, so that's the 2. And the sign here is a times, so the opposite using our rules is a divide. So we're going to apply divide 2 on both sides. We then simplify, so 10 divided by 2 is 5 equals 2 divided by 2 is 1 times the y, which simplifies to 5 equals y. Let's look at another example. 8 equals minus 2y. So here we can write this out again as 8 equals minus 2 times y. So now we ask ourselves, which side is the unknown y on? Well, that's on the right hand side. What's furthest away from y and on the same side? So that's the minus 2. Now here it asks, what is the opposite sign? Now you could say, well, the sign is minus 2 over here. But because this is multiplying, we ignore that and we look at the times. Now the opposite to times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by minus 2. Now you'll see why we ignored the minus, because the aim of this is to get rid of that minus 2 so that the y is on its own. 8 divided by minus 2 is minus 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and the plus and the minus makes a minus. Then minus 2 divided by minus 2 gives us 1 times y, and this simplifies to minus 4 equals y. Let's look at another example. 2 equal to minus x. Now here we can rewrite this out again as 2 equals 2. This minus x actually means minus 1 times x. And it's important to remember this, as this is quite common when you come to rearranging equations. And then we apply the rules in the same way. So which side is x on? Well, that's on the right hand side. And what's furthest away from the unknown? Well, that's the minus 1. And that's what we want to get rid of. So to get rid of that, we have to break the link. So the link here is the times sign, and the opposite is a divide. And now we want to divide both sides by the -1, and we simplify. So that gives us -2 equals x. Let's look at another example. X over 2 equals 5. So now x over 2 is the same as x divided by 2 equals 5. So then we ask the same questions. Which side is the unknown on? Well, that's on the left hand side. What is furthest away from x and on the same side? So that's the 2. Now we're interested in the opposite sign to break the link with the x, so that's this division. The opposite to division is times, so we need to apply times 2 on both sides. We then simplify, so x divided by 2 times 2, well the 2's cancel, so that's left with x equals 5 times 2, which is 10. Let's look at another example. -4 equals x over 2. So again here, we can write this as -4 equals x over 2 is the same as x divided by 2. So we ask ourselves the same question. So the x is on the right hand side. This 2 is on the same side as the x and also furthest away. There's nothing else there. And what is the opposite sign? So here we've got a divide. So to break that link, we need to multiply. So applying the times 2 on both sides, we can then simplify. So -4 times 2 is -8. And the 2 cancels with this 2. So that's left with 8. Let's look at another example. -x over 4 equal to 5. Now in this case, we can write this out again as -x divided by 4 equal to 5. We then ask the same questions. So x is on the left hand side. Now what is furthest away from the unknown? Well, in this case, the minus sign and the divide 4 are in the same position. So let's just, in this case, we'll choose the divide 4. So now we look at the sign to break the link. So here, using the rules, the opposite is times. So we're going to apply times 4 on both sides. We then simplify. So this becomes -x equal to 20 as these 4's cancel. Now, as we saw early on in the video, this -x can be written as -1 times x equal to 20. And using the same rules, we're interested in getting rid of the -1. The symbol in the middle is times. So in this case, we want to cancel the times. So the opposite is divide. So we're going to divide by -1 in both cases. This then simplifies to x equals to -20. So the answer here is x equals -20. Let's look at another example. -x over 2 equal to 3. So here we can rewrite this as -x divided by 2 equal to 3, just like the previous example. So the unknown x is on the left hand side. And again, we have option of either looking at the divide 2 or the minus because they're next to the x. One is multiplying, one is dividing the x. So we can choose one of them. So in this case, we will decide to go with the minus this time. So the minus here, same as saying -1 times x. So the opposite would be your divide. So we'll do a divide -1 and a divide -1 on both sides. Simplify. So this becomes, so that -1 cancels with this one. So that's x divided by 2 equal to 3 divided by -1 is -3. So this time we're going to try to get rid of the 2. The sign here is a divide. So the opposite is going to be times. So we will do times 2 on both sides. And this simplifies to x. Divide 2 and times 2 cancel. Equals underneath the equal sign. -3 times 2 is -6. So the answer here is x equals -6.
You can download the application on Google Play or App Store, and you can visit our website mathslegends.co.uk.